bring up the next young gentleman up to the stage. I like to, his Native American name, he's not Native American, but his Native American name is Little Man Big Spirit. All right, and you're going to feel this when you see and hear this man speak. He is one of the best dudes I know, and it's like, people should start wearing a t-shirt that says everybody loves Viet, because I've never heard anybody say anything bad about him except that one girl who remained nameless. We're not going to talk about her or stalk her anymore. So, without any further ado, part of Collective Purpose and part of the San Diego Slam team in the past, please give it up for Mr. Viet Mai, Little Man, Big Spirit, all day.
The other day I woke up and I chose to live. See, I was tired of dying, so I climbed off my deathbed, jumped into enemy territory, dove into the belly of the beast, and I drank its poison. So when I came out, I was stronger with the antidote to save even those before me, and now memories of their legacies are restored as my voice slays dragons that have us dragging our feet through the streets of Babylon. You see, I became the change I saw in this dream I had, that one day we would all be free at last. See, at first, I thought I was living the dream, but I was actually stuck in a nightmare where my own blood drowned out the sound of my mind's harmony. I knew I had to wake up by any means necessary, so when I awoke, I murdered my thoughts, resurrected them to seek redemption. I no longer wanted to be driven insane by daily reminders of being a pawn, so I took a crash course on becoming a kamikaze warrior. I became a courier carrying weapons to take down the structures of corruption. You see, I'm a pilot, driven by my origins, so I piloted my destination right into the origin in order to take out the axis, but I'm alive now more than ever. I refuse to die, so don't kill me. I'm just a messenger, a white pigeon. You can hear me crying when my voice is delivered through bottles. Drink my message. It contains solutions to many battles. Pour out libations for someone who has passed, who is passing but doesn't know it. You see, I'm alive because I chose it, and I choose to be active in this passive matrix, and I seek neo souls who also select the no. So forget bliss. Ignorant people are dying. I'm trying to lift up those who are lying asleep. Awake them from those who are lying deceitful. I'm exhausted by false promises of being equal, so I'm running full speed to confront the culprit, bum rushing the pulpit, spreading messages of human existence like a plague that doesn't discriminate to incriminate me. Judge me and imprison me, accuse me of running outside of my race, brand me a disgrace, albeit, but excuse me if I break out and spread culture like the world is my petri dish. You see, I infest growth in the same monstrous institution that raised me to consume the poison that was killing me softly, but now I die hard with the vengeance, do my time with the sentence, stanza by stanza, so the beast won't stand a chance against thousands of soldiers just like me, taught in its own home school, but publicly spreading the contagious message of life. You see, I'm done being held captive by a capitalistic prison, so I made the decision to do a lifetime of community service and free the minds of the dying. So rest in peace, rest in peace, rest in peace, but awake and rage. Thank you so much. It is an honor for me to be here tonight. I'm born and raised in San Diego, so it's really good for me to be here. And you know, I really find this exhibition really fascinating because, unfortunately, I didn't learn a lot of the rites of passages of my native heritage. And maybe I just take things for granted, you know, the daily things that my mom was able to kind of just instill in us as she was a single mother, full-time working and full-time student. So she did what she could, you know, to hand down the traditions of Vietnamese culture. So I'm more in tune with everyday, just kind of like a transplant in the United States culture, and I've been trying to find my way that way. You know, I never knew I never was taught how to be a man from a father, if you will. And so I learned a lot from my older brothers and from what they were able to even hand down because, you know? So I realized that a lot of us young people may be in a similar situation and we don't know what our rites of passages are. You get me? I was supposed to give a toast to the most high in the sky, but then I realized that the host came from within side. And since I felt the fear I felt had been lies, I decided to let the sin from within side come out. And so I shout, Speaking and teaching and reaching out to all those seeking out a new alternative, figuring out what their purpose is. Whatever method to the madness, I'm not concerned with it. You see, it starts with the heart, and so I'm turning it. So while it was written in red, embedded in heads, I was awoken. My word is spoken. You see, I was supposed to give a token of my appreciation and pledge allegiance to one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. But then I saw injustice and all and thought, how can we have liberty when it's just us that fall? So I've decided that we'll abide by haves and have-nots, what some have and what others want. Peace, freedom, and equal opportunity, because you and me are soon to be we the divided states of America. Because through all the hysteria, they're never taking care of you, since we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal in the sight of God, but in the sight of all, it's apparent that the ones with nothing at all are the ones most likely to fall. So are we really equal? While it was written in red, embedded in heads, I was awoken. My word is spoken. You see, I was supposed to go to school, work hard, and get a good job so I wouldn't be broken. Then I found I had bigger problems to solve. I'm not a fan of watching high-paid players playing high-stakes games at the expense of the masses and lower classes just plain fascist. So I had to ask if I was happy with just getting mine while others are forced to stay on the grind. I had to ask if I mind sacrificing my time while others are forced to, while others... sacrificing my time so that others can also shine, and my replies were simply no. I'm not okay with the way books say one thing while something else tells me clearly it's just not that way. So I look to those who paved ways for brighter days like Christ, King, Malcolm, Benazir, Che, all slain. Turn the martyrs from working smarter instead of harder. It's a shame. It's like we speak of their names in vain while we still blame each other for violence, yet still colors remain silenced. So I'm trying to be the Sinatra of my day after Jay and do it my way. I say they can cut off the hands of a man who writes books that they ban. They can crucify him on the cross and shoot him off the stand, but they can't weaken the message that teaches the masses. And no, they can't lessen the lesson that teach the weak to be stronger, because knowledge lasts longer than the dollar. So if the pen is mightier than the sword, well then I'm fighting for the power of the word. And that's my word. To find my way through the community, and the community is definite. When I say community, I mean that's a huge statement. That's a really broad term. But this is the community. You are the community. We are the community. And so I feel like we gather here and we go to these open mics. We go to community events. We go to these art exhibits. Because that's what we're trying to learn. We're trying to build one another. We're trying to learn from one another. One of the things that I do is I help run a mentoring program called the Village of Promise. And what we do is our mission is to break the cycle of incarceration, and we serve middle and high school kids of incarcerated parents. So we're basically just loving them from a village mentality. And we're based out here in southeastern San Diego. Our kids go to O'Farrell. We're all over the place now over the last 3.5 years, you know, so our kids are kind of dispersed. But I'm going to do a shameless plug, if you don't mind. I posted these flyers up by the flyer table over there. We're having a fundraiser, and it's really it's a rummage sale. So if you have stuff to donate, Encanto Southern Baptist Church is going to take some collections tomorrow. I'll be out there helping to organize some of the stuff. But our rummage sale is on Saturday from 8 to 12 noon. I left some flyers. Again, if you have items to donate, if you want to come out, meet some of the kids, purchase some things for yourself, it's going to be like an outdoor thrift store. You know what I mean? So talk to me more about Village of Promise if you're willing to make a contribution or just want to get involved or want to find out more. In addition, I help co-host an open mic called Elevated, and we do a lot of spoken word. Talk to me more about that first and third Thursdays in North Park. I'm going to finish out with this last piece because I feel like this is the kind of stuff that brings me here. This is what I do. This is what I'm here for. I do this for the hearts, among the heartless, the mindless, thoughtless. Just think, what if we can solve this, strategize, combine, find a way to take away injustices, trust this is not a simple solution, it gets tougher and tougher as the story evolves. Read it in Times, documented by media lines, see it seems it must be a repeated history thing. And ever since stories were stories that could not be written, so they were told. And what they told was that there were people suffering. And the people not suffering did nothing because they're comfortable. Two kinds of suffering. People who know and the people who don't. The people who don't feel an obligation. But the people who do can't do a thing. Still, there's a few who choose to speak for others like those who are suffering. And they become known in old written texts, so the last generation gets it like the next. And these stories are told by generations each time, but time can only go one history at a time, so stories are told, but so many are forgotten. So here's a moment to honor and mention known heroes, role models, serving roles as voices for the voiceless and those who speak truth for others to gain knowledge. Role models, serving roles as sight for the sightless and those who shed light for others to gain wisdom. Role models, serving roles as aids for the disabled and those who walk a path for others to follow so they don't get swallowed up by the monstrous oppressor. Everyday oppression, everyday suffering, everyday struggling, and everyday hustling. Everyday heroes, powers to save the world, change, create, shape. Minds are being mentored. When I mention why I do this for us. The everyday heroes, the hearts among the heartless, the mindless, thoughtless. Just think, what if we can solve this? Strategize, combine, find a way to take away injustices, trust. This is not a simple solution. It gets tougher and tougher as the story evolves. My name is Viet Mai. Thank you.